So your ancestor is a scoundrel. We all have them, but we're going to tell you about one particular bad dude who had a very good son, and he was kind of a hero.
He has given me the gifts to realize that I could do whatever I put my heart and mind to.
Regina Mason was a light-colored, black African-American who wasn't black enough according to her peers. And for years she wanted to know her heritage. And for 15 years she researched, went to the libraries, wrote letters, and discovered her family ancestry, and discovered her great-great-great-grandfather, William Grimes.
He was a man who knew who he was when society told him he was a nobody. When society said, your task is to be menial, you are supposed to be subservient.
He was a property owner, a shrewd businessman, an intense author, and a runaway slave.
And in his narrative, he says, if only I had been given a chance, I would have done so much more with my life because I was a fast learner. So think about that. He knew who he was and what he was capable of doing.
I love the resiliency of Gina and those who have had to cope and deal with their bad past, and how this has been enlightening for her and has made her a better person. It makes us all a better person when we know who we are and where we come from, and have a person like William Grimes, who is a true hero. He became a free man, and mainly because he wrote his own book, the first one to have his own narrative of the slave experience.
I don't know how to actually portray him, but William Grimes talked about his father being a very brave man and that he didn't take anything from anyone. But William Grimes, his father, murdered a man on his plantation.
So I asked Gina, what about selling your own son? How can you do that? How bad can a person be?
Well, he never owned his own son, and this speaks to the complexity of enslavement and slave culture. William Grimes was the son of Benjamin Grimes, an illegitimate son, but it was Dr. Stewart who owned William Grimes and William Grimes' mother. So she had a child, and regardless of who fathered that child, Dr. Stewart owned that particular piece of property because that's all they were at that time.
Countless African Americans had the same experience as Gina. They are offspring from their masters. How they deal with the history of this infidelity and these tyrants and these bad dudes like Ben Grimes.
William, in his narrative, talks about how he's this little child in the house of Dr. Stewart. And when the mistress, Dr. Stewart's wife, catches William in the house, she beats him unmercifully. And to me, I couldn't understand why she would treat this little boy like that. But when I started to do the research, I realized that Dr. Stewart's wife was actually William Grimes' cousin. You see, so he represented family in the worst way. William Grimes' presence alone was a reminder of the infidelity that took place in that slave culture.
You know, we did have an ancestor in our family who was a slave who escaped from the South. He lived in New Haven, and I think his name was Grimes.
He helped free the slaves?
That's how the story goes, Gina.
William Grimes was the first fugitive slave narrator in American history.
Those that wish to know who Grimes is, he would inform them that he was born in a place in Virginia, has lived in several different states and been owned by 10 different masters.
you mourn first. That's what you do. You have to mourn. You mourn for these people. Yes, you do. But in the end, you become empowered by them when you discover their narratives, when you discover their biographies, when you can put them and shape them into actual people. Then that's where the healing comes, and that's where the virtues that are extended to you and your family come from. They become the source of your strength.
My name is Regina Mason, and my great-great-great-grandfather was an interesting man.
Gina's Journey is the movie that they produced about Gina Mason's experience searching for her great-great-grandfather. And it is a Kin movie, is what it is. It's just like Kin, where they reenacted the events that happened based on his stories and based on the book that he wrote.
The hardest thing for me was to see myself on screen. I am very critical of myself, and as most people are, and they're not accustomed. If you're not accustomed to seeing yourself on screen, it's hard to take. And it was hard to see my life play out on screen as well.
This was an amazing experience for me to watch this movie, because that's what Kin is all about. We all have the opportunity to make a movie of our own lives and our own ancestors, just like Gina did. That's what Kin is all about.
And that's how we get along as humans, when we recognize each other's story. And that's what genealogy should be about. It's not just names, dates, and people. It's about discovering these people and making them whole individuals and healing across all lines.